We have a show coming up on the 24th and 25th of November, and then the week after. If you buy a ticket right now, between now and 13th of November, you get it for 60. Beyond that, you pay our regular price, which is 80. But thank you for joining us, and you are welcome. Today, we're going to discuss a very strange topic. It's not the kind of topic that you would have expected on this platform. The title is Unloved People. And the question is, are you unloved? Now, before I begin, let me start with two quotations that I picked from the net. One is from Ella Wilcox, and she said, "A weed is but an unloved flower." A weed is but an unloved flower. In other words, a weed could have grown to be a beautiful flower, but it did not have love, so that's why it stayed a weed. Then Princess Diana, the people's princess, said this: "The biggest disease this day and age is that of people feeling unloved." The biggest disease this day and of this age is that of people feeling unloved, and that is from Princess Diana. When people do not receive love and attention, the love and attention they need as children, they never get over it, even though they may not be conscious of it. They may not be conscious of the void, but it never goes away. And that is why when you look at the Bible, Proverbs chapter 30, I think 13, thereabout, verse 12 talks about the things that under which the earth trembles. That there are certain things the earth shakes because of how terrible they are. And one of it, the last one, verse 13, says that an unloved woman who gets married. An unloved woman. So an unloved person who gets married into a relationship creates the kind of situation that the earth itself trembles under. Now, let's look at what creates unloved. And by unloved, and then maybe let's go through this and you would discover what I mean by unloved. What creates unloved people? One, parenting. And the negative aspects of parenting. Parents being irresponsible, parents being absentee. The two are not the same. They could be responsible parents, but they're absentee because their schedules are such that they don't have time for the children. And they are always on the run, on the go. 3, abusive parents. Parents who are abusive either physically or verbally, especially those who raise their children with abuse, verbal abuse. What they don't realize is that the children internalize the insults, and then it becomes part of their operating system later on in their lives. And then parents who are separated or divorced, that creates a serious damage to how a child feels about himself or herself, and makes the child begin to feel, maybe I caused it, or they don't love me. If they love me, why would they separate? Why would they divorce? And we grow up with it. 2. So the first, parenting, and I've given you the 4 basis of where how parenting can affect, can create unloved person. Then, under what creates unloved people, number 2, dysfunctional homes. There are homes where the parents haven't divorced, but nothing in that home is normal. Dysfunctional home, we call it dysfunctional homes. It creates a certain negative effect on the children, and they grow up not thinking that they are loved. 3, death of a parent, especially the parent that you were that devoted to, attached to. And that kind of situation we seldom get over. 4, vicious and mischievous siblings, neighbors, and friends. So these are beyond your parents, among your siblings, and the way they treated you, what they said to you, how they made you feel about yourself, your neighbors, whom you play with, your friends, your classmates, and co. 5, inferiority complex. can create an unloved person. That complex itself makes you withdraw from people, which then makes you think nobody wants to be with you, and that creates an unloved situation. 6, when the system suits only your weakness. Let me explain this. We all have strengths and weaknesses, but it is possible that you're operating in a system where your strengths are never called upon. So, for instance, the kind of educational system where you go to school, you are supposed to sit down, listen to the teacher, there's no interactive thing till there's break time, and then now, if you are a hyper person, a situation like that does not play to your strength. It plays against your weakness. And so you may not fit in, or you may look like you are not intelligent. And yet it is only that the system, it suits only your weakness. Makes you bring only your weakness to the table. And therefore, it makes you see only your weakness. It makes other people think that you are not smart, you are not sharp, but maybe in a different context, where your strength will be called upon, you would have been very different. But this may happen at a time where you are not even old enough to appreciate the fact that, well, this is not working, it suits only my weakness, but I have strengths. You may not think that at all. 7, rejection by parents, siblings, friends, or peers. Just flat out rejection, where people do things, say things that makes you feel that I am not wanted. And therefore, you keep finding yourself either being alone or withdrawing into yourself. 8, the failure of a relationship, especially a relationship you cared about. When it fails, now this could happen to somebody who even grew up in a loved home and felt good about himself or herself. But when that relationship comes in and ends badly, when it ends badly, especially when it ends with the other party throwing all kinds of toxic things on you, telling you how terrible you are, why you are, he's walking away, why you are not enough, and that's why he's moving away. That kind of thing can destroy your sense of self-esteem and what you think of yourself, and you begin to feel that nobody will love me. Nobody will love me. 9, toxic associations. This is you finding yourself either in the office, at home, or in school, or in a certain group, or your friends, the core of your friends. All they do is to say negative things about you and about each other. When you are in that kind of association, it tends to affect you. You tend to look down upon yourself. And then 10, when you have some physical traits you are sensitive about. You know, I remember my case. My head has never been normal. It has a very funny shape. Now, my body has grown and filled in our kakra, so it doesn't look bad. But when I was in primary school, the back of my head was very prominent. And so they used to call me a tico, you know, and there's something I couldn't do anything about, but I was so sensitive about it that there was a company that was selling some pain relief ointment or something. It's called Article. And the first time somebody said Article, I fought the person. Because I thought they wanted to say Article and they wanted to hide it. So I jumped at the person. And I think it was the first time I fought in elementary school. Because I was sensitive about that. And that sensitivity to that part of your anatomy can also make you feel very unloved, especially when people tend to laugh at, try to put you down with it, to try to use it to create. So these are some of the things that create unloved people. People who, now listen, you can be unloved and not know that you are unloved, because it is felt often at the subconscious level. Because the human being is like that. When something is painful, we bury it very deep. We bury it so deep that sometimes we ourselves can't access it. And yet, its manifestation, its effect on us cannot be denied. It would run you, and it would be behind a lot of the things you do, except that you will not even know why you are doing that. because you've buried the cause for why you are doing that so deep that you yourself cannot access it. And an unloved person struggles in a relationship. It is hell to feel unloved, but it is even more hell to love somebody who does not love himself or herself, or does not feel loved from his or her background. So let's now look at symptoms that you are an unloved person. We've talked about what creates that. Now, if you have any of these symptoms, if any of these things are true of you, then I'm telling you that there is an element of you that does not feel loved, that has not felt loved from your childhood or later on in your life. It could have happened, something could have happened along the way to have made you feel that, oh, really, I'm not that loved. And it doesn't matter what the reality is, you feel it in there. And it's gotten so deep, sometimes you yourself cannot access it. So, shall we go? 1, you have a complex. Any one of them. Inferiority complex, superiority complex. It is all a sign of somebody who feels unloved deep within. 2, you have a temper. And sometimes you can even get violent. That is a sign of an unloved person. 3, you are clingy. When somebody comes into your orbit, you hold on so tightly to them and you never let go. You get possessive and you get jealous and all that. That is an unloved person. 4, you are abusive. You are abusive, either verbally or physically. That is a sign, because the person who doesn't feel loved always wants people not to feel loved. So an unloved person's whole agenda is to ensure that nobody feels loved, and will create that situation, that environment, and that's why they get abusive, just so you feel terrible about yourself. 5, you are manipulative. You love to manipulate people with all kinds of gimmicks. Either you feign illness when you are not, just so you can't get somebody to go. The person wants to leave. You are in the house with that person, and the person wants to go for a program. You don't want to go. You don't want that person to go. So suddenly you are ill. You are ill, and your head, or if you are from where I come from, they will say my inside. You know, when somebody says, I'm not well, and he said, my inside. I mean, how do you solve that? My inside. 6, you lie. The person who tells lies is an unloved person, because lying is a defensive mechanism. We develop the habit of lying to escape punishment as children. And then it becomes, and it only comes that way because you don't feel loved. If you feel loved, it is easier to say, I did it. But if you don't feel loved, already you know you are in trouble. So, who did this? I didn't do it. And then you begin from there, and before you know it, it has become you. You open your mouth, and your default statement is always a lie. And then when it is challenged, then you begin to polish it up again. And then you begin to get better. And then this is what happens with liars. They get to the point where their mind now believes what comes out of their mouth, and that becomes their reality. So the person is lying by saying that I am a patient person. And because it has come out of his mouth, his mind heard it. His mind heard himself say it. So his mind now takes it and said, oh, they are saying I'm a patient person, so I must be a patient person. That's a sign of an unloved person. You lie. 7, you are critical and cynical. An unloved person loves to criticize people. And sometimes we admire them because we think they are sharp. We think they know what should be done. No, they don't. They don't feel good about themselves. So they don't want anybody to feel good about anybody. And watch those who are very critical. They get even more critical the day you compliment somebody in their presence. So you tell them, oh, I like the way Abiziga dresses. Oh, Abiziga. Oh, you don't know that girl. And then they rattle because they are so unloved. The moment they hear you praise somebody, it triggers that thing in them. No, why should anybody love Abizga when nobody loves me? And then they must run Abizga down. They get critical, they get cynical, and they say all kinds of things. 8, you are disrespectful. Being disrespectful is a sign that you yourself, you don't respect yourself. And because you don't respect yourself, you don't have it in you to respect anybody else, the next person you are dealing with. 9. 8, I said you are disrespectful. But 9, even though you are disrespectful, you get very mad when you feel disrespected. And in your case, everything makes you feel disrespected, even when it is not intended. So there are people who will kill and say, why? He said he was disrespecting me. There are people who can get violent. Why were you? He was disrespecting me. And you ask him, what did he do or say that disrespected you? And you realize there was something there. Just that because he himself doesn't respect himself and is disrespectful, as soon as he saw something that wasn't even there, he just reacts. And he reacts violently. He was disrespecting me. You are unloved. It wasn't the disrespect. Something in you is crying for love. 10, you are boastful. You are boastful. Do you know somebody who is always boasting about his achievements and what he's done for people and how good he is and how wonderful he is? That's an unloved person. That's somebody who feels very deep down that I don't feel loved. There's a void there. 11, you are driven. Well, we admire this kind of flawed people, damaged people. They are unloved, and they've decided that I will force you to, if you won't love me, at least you will admire me. So they push themselves. They are overly competitive. They are desperate to be successful at all costs. They don't care who they trample upon. They must be successful so that at least when you see their car, if you don't respect them, you respect the car. And they need that. They are overly ambitious. They not only want to go to the moon, they want to buy the moon and bring it to the earth. That's the kind of people they are. We admire them, we admire their drive. But behind the drive, often, it's a baby still crying for the mother's comfort and love. 12, you are a gossip. A gossip is always an unloved person. Because a gossip loves to destroy the reputation of others and put others down. Why? Because he or she doesn't feel loved, and so nobody else must be loved. 13, you are very eager to please. This one is a bit confusing. This is a person who doesn't feel loved, but feels that if I can help you, if I can make myself useful to you, you will be forced to at least love me. And so any situation they get into, they want to be helpful. And if you don't know them well, you stand back and you look at the way they are serving and they seem to be invested in helping others, and you go and say, oh, she's a very helpful person. Now, their problem is this. Because the motive for what they are doing is often not genuine and is often self-serving, what happens is that very soon, the very people they are helping don't respond with gratitude. Then they get bitter and say, I helped her when she was going to do her wedding. I did everything for her. No, you are doing it for yourself. You are hoping that that person will pay attention to you by the help you are giving. 14, you accept abuse. If you are in a relationship and you accept abuse, it's because you don't feel loved. So this abuse you have in your relationship is comfortable for you because it is consistent with the way you feel. It is not a different thing. You've never been loved. You don't feel loved. So this guy is abusing you. It's okay. I am comfortable with it because it is familiar. It is familiar with me. 15, you are envious. You can't stand it that somebody is achieving something somebody is being praised, you can't take that. 16, you're a show off. You must show off everything you have. Your house, your children, your certificates. These are the people, you spend 2 minutes with them, they will let you know how many alphabets follow their name. And these people, when they come to an event, better give them reserved seats. Otherwise, you damage them. You really, really offended them. They are show-offs. 17, you live above your means. You can't afford it, but you buy it. Again, because you're a show-off. You don't want people to know, because again, you feel so bad about yourself. You can't let people even say that you don't have enough. And so you live above your means. Those are the people who often also rewrite their history. Those are the people who say they were born and raised at Airport Residential Area in East Legon, but we know where they are, where they were born. A car goes there twice, you destroy your shocks. 18. You cannot apologize, and you cannot admit your fault. You are an unloved person. If you are the kind of person who can never apologize, and you can never admit it's your fault, you are always rationalizing. You always have a good reason why you even ran into the other car. It wasn't your fault. There was oil on the road. The road was too narrow. He wasn't moving fast enough. He was in the inner lane and he was driving like he was in the outer lane. It's not your fault. You are unloved. 19, you don't show gratitude. Nothing anybody does to you makes you say thank you, because saying thank you for you makes you feel beholden to that person. You won't do it. 20, you cultivate unhealthy lifestyles. You know what to do. You know what is healthy for you, but you can't do it. And then so, I struggle with it. No, you don't struggle with it. You are unloved, and so you don't love yourself, so you don't care the destruction you are bringing to your body. You engage in all kinds of risky behavior, all kinds of things that you know would have consequences for your body and for your person down the line, but you don't care, because after all, you don't think anybody cares. Because when you don't feel loved, you destroy yourself. As your way of protest, you destroy yourself. 21, you are not expressive, especially when it comes to soft emotions. You can express hard emotions. Anger, it's easier. But to express a softer emotion of love, that is difficult. You can't do it. Even when you've missed the significant person in your life, you can't open your mouth and say it. You can't say it. You feel it there. You feel it deep within. But you cannot say it. 22, you court sympathy. I'm sure every office has somebody like that who enters the office in the morning and is slow and is dragging herself and is doing Then is waiting for somebody to say, Joanna, what is happening to you? It's courting sympathy. 23, you don't ask for help when you need it, and you cannot accept help when it is offered. That's somebody who is unloved. Because one aspect of unloved person is that he doesn't want to feel dependent upon anybody. You understand me? Nobody loves me, so I won't depend on them, because if I depend on them, they will reject me. So I don't need anybody. And because I don't need anybody, I don't need anything from anybody. Leave me alone. Cannot ask for help. And sometimes when you offer the help, they protest and say, no, it's okay, no, I don't. And yet they need it. They need the help badly. 24, when an unloved person becomes a parent, that unloved person makes their children dependent upon them in all kinds of ways. Sometimes by doting on them. Sometimes by over-loving them. Sometimes by being overprotective. Say, hey, don't go out. You get yourself. Stay here. It's not for the sake of the child. It's that if you go, I will feel rejected. I don't want you to go. I want you to stay by me. An unloved person does not want the children to be independent of him or her. So creates a situation that would always make them come. So whenever they are getting independent, he has an issue with them. Has to kill that. So you'll be dependent. And that's when they come up with all kinds of rules. You can't do this, you can't do this. You can't be friends there, you can't go and play. You can't go this, you can't go and do this. And you think, oh, he's protecting them. No, he's not protecting them. He's unloved. He feels unloved and needs the children who he thinks are mine to at least fill the gap, and wants them there. Well, so we just run through the sentence that you are unloved, but to cap it, let me just give you some of the schemes. This one will be just about 6 or so schemes that we all adopt to hide our feeling of being unloved. One, we adopt the I don't care attitude. You know, that's one of the first signs that we just go through life. We don't care, and yet we care so badly. We give the impression we don't hurt, but we hurt badly. And 2, we act confident and tough, but we are not. You know, a relationship goes back, and you go back and say, "Oh, Ajo, what happened? Oh, no, it's okay. Me, I'm fine. Oh, me, I'm fine. If he says he will go, let him go. I'm fine. Meanwhile, Ajo hasn't eaten in 2 days and has not taken her bath in 3 days because she's mourning. 3, we are extra nice and helpful. That is an unloved person. 4, we become overly critical. We've talked about that. 5, we become extra jovial. Everywhere we go, we want to make people laugh. But whilst we are making people laugh, we are weeping inside. So everybody loves our company, but we hate our own company. Wherever we go, we make people laugh, but we are not happy. And that is why you'll find this with professional comedians. Many of them are unloved. And you will find that one of the common causes of death for comedians is suicide. Yeah. They kill themselves. Why did they kill themselves? They were unloved, but they hated beyond making us all happy. And as long as they were making us laugh, they fooled us into thinking they were happy. No, they were not. They were dying inside every day. 6, we act superior to others. We act superior to others because it's a scheme. I don't want you to see my weakness. I don't want you to see how much needy I am. So you are my small boy. I don't care about you. Who are you? And that kind of thing. All right. How do you heal if you are unloved? Now listen, there's nothing you could do about it. So how do you do if you recognize that, oh my goodness, maybe I am unloved? Well, 1, own your story. And remember, it is okay. It is not your fault that your upbringing, you have that, and you are not raised well, that you didn't get that kind of love. So own the story. This is my background. Own it. There's no shame about it. 2, love yourself. And in loving yourself, accept who you are. You are okay. You are not perfect. You have issues, but you are okay. At any rate, you are growing. 3, and this is very important. Now, be the right parent to the child inside you. Because inside us, all of us, there's a child. That child, depending on your childhood experiences, may always be crying or may be laughing. And if you're unloved, that child in there is crying for love. Now, your parents could have did what they could. They did what they could, but it's possible they didn't know any better. They gave you what they had, and what they had was negative and defective. It doesn't matter. Now, the magic of being an adult is that I can reverse what was done to me as a child by now parenting the child inside me. That's a wonderful thing about being an adult. You become an adult and you realize, oh my goodness, they should have treated me this way. They should have dealt with me this way. They should have been more patient with me and things like that. Now, but that one you couldn't change. Now you're an adult. You have the power now to do that for the child inside you. So be the parent, parent the child inside you now, and show that child love. That is how you reverse the poor parenting that you had. 4, do the things you love and the things you are good at. And in other words, play to your strengths. Don't play to your negatives. Play to your strengths. What are the things you love? What are the things you are good at? Do them. Stay in there. 5, use vulnerability. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. And one step of being vulnerable in healing from being unloved is that talk to the people, if it is possible, who caused that feeling. So if it is your mother who is made you feel unloved, look for an opportunity to sit down with your mom and open up and say, Mom, you may not know this. I know you did the best you could, but because of the way you compared me with my siblings, or the way you insulted me when my results came and it wasn't good enough, I've always felt you didn't love me. And it has driven me to all the things and negative things I've done. That is you being vulnerable. If it is a partner in your life, the same thing. 6, stop putting yourself down. You gain nothing. Look, there's no reward from putting yourself down. And there are certain things you should never say to yourself. Oh, I am stupid. Why am I like that? Why am I so stupid? No, you are not stupid. You may have done something stupid, but you are not stupid. There's a big difference. So don't put yourself down. That one, make a promise to yourself today. I will never put myself down. 7, stop dwelling on the toxic things people say to you or say about you. Some of us still remember what somebody told us in class 3. And, and in my case, class 3 is 1960 something. No, stop dwelling on the things, on the toxic things people said about you, because it had nothing to do with you. It is evidence of how they were themselves, how much pain they were in, how unloved they felt, and they transferred it on you. So don't cooperate, throw it away. 8, create an environment of affirmation around yourself. Wherever you are, create an environment where you are complimenting others, you are affirming others, so they would also affirm you. And if there's anybody who comes into your inner circle who does not affirm and celebrate and dwell in the affirmation, remove that person. If you're on any chat that is critical and abusive and things like that, move yourself out of it. And don't save negative things people send to you. So look on your gadget. Anything you saved that helps you to feel pain and stay in pain, delete. That foolish mail that person sent to you, the WhatsApp he sent to you that you have saved, and you show everybody, it has become your museum of horrors. And you show everybody, let me show you what he sent to me. You see, this is what he sent to me. Why do you still have it? It's not helping you. So, clean up your environment. Let there be affirmation around you. 10, concentrate on developing your talents and your skills and interests. Work on yourself. Become good. Become better. 11, live in the present, not in the past. 12, think positive. Speak positive. Act positive. If it is not positive, it is not you. Always think positive. Speak positive. Act positive. 13, make it a habit to always challenge your frontiers and go out of your comfort zone from time to time. And 14, this is a very useful to write a letter to yourself. Write a letter to yourself, affirming who you are, celebrating who you are, expressing your love for who you are, and the hope you have in you, and it will help you. 15, relate to others as you would want them to relate to you. And finally, 16, learn to laugh at yourself. Don't take yourself seriously. Learn to laugh at yourself. You are fine. Now, I'd like to end by looking at a few points on how do you help somebody in your life who is unloved. So your partner, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, you can see my boyfriend is unloved. And it has nothing to do with me. It is from his childhood or from her childhood. How do you deal? How do you help this person heal? 1, don't be judgmental and critical. When you are relating to somebody who is unloved, the last thing you should ever do is to judge them or be critical. Because when you do that, you perpetuate it. 2, be patient with them. Be patient. They won't change overnight. Give them time, they will change. 3, express love and acceptance often, even when they reject it, because quite often they will reject it. But you keep expressing it. One day they'll come to accept that, okay, he really loves me. 4, give attention, invest time, because time matters to them. 5, be honest but kind. Don't lie to them, but be kind about it. So if the person comes and says, have I put on weight? Be honest but kind.
You want a creative answer?
6, discover the strength of your partner and encourage them to operate in those strengths. Everybody we relate to, we know them. They have their weaknesses, they have their strengths. So always look for ways in which your partner can be operating in his strength. And then you'll find he gets more comfortable with himself. He gets to feel good about himself, and he gets over it. 7, compliment and give praise and affirmation often to this person. That person needs it. 8, accept and honor the individuality of your partner. We are not all the same. So don't say, why can't you be like Ken? Well, Ken is different. Ken was born in a palace. I wasn't born in a palace. You know? The biggest palace. No. Compliment and give praise and affirmation to people, and honor the individuality. Don't ask me to be outgoing. I am not. But it's okay. Let me accept the fact that at a party, I will not go greet everybody. I'll hide in the corner. Accept that. Accept the fact that at the party, everybody will hear my voice. Don't tell me to come and sit down. I am feeding on the energy of the people. Leave me alone. Again, how to help the unloved in your life? Be faithful. When you are dealing with somebody who is unloved in your life, the last thing you want to do is to betray their love and their confidence. Stay faithful in that relationship. And finally, 10, win their confidence and trust and never betray it. Now, the reason why I treated this is that unless you confront the fact that you are unloved, you will blame your partner for a lot of things, but it has nothing to do with your partner. And I hope that this has been useful to you. I hope, and oh, by the way, the last thing, don't perpetuate the cycle of unloved in your life. In other words, don't let other people feel unloved. It is a very terrible place for people to be. So you end the cycle. Don't pass it on to your children. Don't pass it on to your partner. Don't pass it on to your workers. Don't pass it on to your friends. End it. So that around you, you begin to love yourself, and everybody around you begins to love himself. And then your relationship will be richer. Because we take offense often in a relationship where there's no offense intended. Haven't you had situations where you are fighting somebody and the person says, oh, I didn't mean it that way. I didn't intend it that way. And that person is true and sincere about it. How come the person didn't mean to hurt you, but you felt hurt? But it hurt you. It's because the hurt was inside you already, waiting to come out. So I hope this has been useful. We'll take a very short break, and then when we come back, let the community come alive. But remember, between now and 13th of this month, you can buy a ticket to Sex Scandal, which is my next play, for 60 cedis instead of the 80. And the dates for the show, 24th and 25th of November, 1st and 2nd of December. Buy your ticket now. We'll be right back.
Na na
have some fun. Throw away the work to be done. Let the music play on. Everybody sing, everybody dance. Lose yourself in wild moments. We going to party around, fiesta forever. Come on and sing along. We going to party around, fiesta forever. Come on and sing along. All night long, all night, all night long, all night, all night long, all night, all night long, all night.
My baby, he don't talk to me. He ain't got much to say. But he loves me, loves me, loves me. I know that he loves me. And maybe he don't act fine. I don't really mind.
Well, thank you very much for staying with us and welcome back. And now I'll take your questions and your comments. Let it flow. To Boama and the father-in-law in Holland, hi. And to Eileen, we miss all of you in Ghana.
Francis has a comment. He says, Uncle, manipulation, dear. Like 70% of our ladies these days do it.
Who sent this?
Francis.
Hey, Francis, you're a courageous guy. So if they jump on you and beat you right now, what would you say? 70%. How many women have you dealt with? All right, let's go.
Amma says, can two unloved people be in a happy and a successful relationship?
Unless they address the issue, no. Unless they address the issue, no. They can begin well because each of them want to avoid what has brought them there. But in the long haul, especially when there are issues, the pain in them would tear them apart. So they will have to address it.
What do you do when you end up with an unloved person?
Go into hiding because he will look you out and kill you. Yes, that's one, because sometimes they can get very violent and they can come at you. But you should be careful if you are with an unloved person. You should be careful even about the process of breaking it up, because they are some of them, depending on the level of their feeling of unloved, can be very delicate, and you've got to be careful.
Rini says, Uncle Ebo, how do I help my younger brother feel loved? Because it doesn't really flow in the family, and I don't want him to have the same experience.
He's a different personality, so you just continue to affirm him. Don't look for his response. So if it is praise you are giving, compliments you are giving, gifts you are giving, keep doing it. Don't expect much from him, but trust me, he would appreciate it.
Uncle, does it mean you can't create your reality with your words? That is, to have a higher standard for yourself?
No, having said that, remember I said that you can parent the child inside you. And having a higher standard for yourself could be one of it. The question is, what is driving it? And that is what I address. It has to be on healthy grounds. Instead of just doing it just so that the world will love me now. But you are doing it because I am capable of more. Let me do more. I think I've been blessed with more ability. Let me express that. That is a healthy thing to go after.
Mimi says, Uncle, what do you do when your unloved partner rather drains you?
Oh, your unloved partner would always drain you because what he would demand of you will be very heavy. That's why the Bible says that the passage that I referred you to in Proverbs chapter 30, that the earth itself shakes when an unloved woman marries. So what do? You continue loving that person, but continue to have a life of your own. Otherwise, this person would take over your life and destroy it. So love them, but don't sacrifice who you are and your life.
Baxter, Uncle, what about children who display these behaviors?
Come again?
What about children who display these behaviors but are well cared for and loved and considered to be spoiled? Could that mean that they feel unloved?
Remember I said that sometimes Parents who are unloved, they spoil their children. They spoil their children by being overprotective. They spoil their children by giving them a certain lifestyle that they shouldn't have given to them. So check the parents first, and you may discover that even though from the outside these children seem to be well taken care of, it is coming from a place of brokenness on the part of their parents than of true love.
Emmanuel says, Uncle, please, apart from praying for your spouse, how do you tell your wife she's coming from a dysfunctional home and that most of the problems in the relationship could be solved if she understands that fact and works at it?
You are forbidden to make that statement. You can't tell your partner that, you know why we are having all these problems? It's because of your parents, the home you were raised in. You come from a dysfunctional home. So you yourself, you are dysfunctional. That's why you want to create a dysfunctional marriage for us. You can't say it. You can't say that. So now that you know, comes from a dysfunctional home, look for how do I move this person forward. So the issues when she's reacting, you know where it comes from. So don't take it personal. Don't get emotional. Don't get angry. You know where this one is coming from. So your responses and your reactions should be directed at killing the fire instead of feeding the flames, because you know where it is coming from.
From Nanaya, what if you are being cheated on but still stay?
Come again?
What if you are being cheated on but still stay?
Still safe.
Still stay. You stay.
In a relationship.
Yes.
Well, you are unloved. You are accepting very bad behavior. You have to at least let the person know, you know something, if we are to continue, this is not acceptable.
Louis says, I'm not dating now and I feel okay. Is it normal?
It is very normal, Louis. Very, very okay.
Uncle, how about the small harmless gisting we do with our siblings, friends, and loved ones about daily happenings in our offices, schools, and homes? Do they pass for gossips? Does it mean we are unloved?
They pass for gossips, and sometimes, especially even the little teasing, we are all laughing, and the other person may be laughing with us, but maybe it is doing more damage than we know.
Margaret says, Uncle, a lot of mothers especially live for their children. How can mothers live their full life and still make their children feel loved?
A lot of the mothers who live for their children do so because they are unloved and they want the children, they want to own the children. Those are the mothers who, as the children begin to show a bit of independence, get shattered. And then they get manipulative. I carried you for 9 months. How I struggled. I was in labor with you for 3 days. Mommy, I had no say to that. So don't hold that on my head. But it's because, they want to have children because nobody loves me, but at least the child I've given birth to will love me.
Yeah.
That's the logic. And that's a very serious, flawed angle to come from for parenting.
From Ajua, Uncle, we are sick of love. How do we get out of it?
We are sick of love. Oh, I see. And what do you want to get out of love into? Ajua, I'd like to know. Yeah, let's go.
Mark says, my daughter told me I don't love her. We talked about it and brought out our concerns. I'm being patient and checking how I treat her, but sometimes she doubts me. How do I deal with this?
She doubts him.
She doubts her.
Okay. Just continue being consistent in showing the love and being sensitive, and that will be fine. But don't let her manipulate you also. You are the parent. Stay a parent and be consistent in treating them. And also watch that it doesn't make you take attention from the other siblings as well. So that they also don't go away feeling that, okay, mommy loves this one, but me, she doesn't care about.
So, Uncle, can we say that we can't blame our parents as to how they bring us up?
There is an expiry period for when you can blame your parents. When you become an adult, the period for blaming your parents has expired. It is over. You can no longer blame your parents, because that is when you can become the parent to yourself, to the inner child in you. So get busy and take it over.
Joe says, can you love your kids equally?
It's difficult to. No, it's difficult. But you can do the best you can.
Uncle, there are a lot of comments here in regards to your statement about talking to those who have, made us feel unloved, especially the mothers.
Yes.
A lot of people are asking you whether you want them to die early, whether you want them to receive slaps, and which of their mothers you are talking about.
If it won't work for you, don't do it. But others have done that, and it has not often worked. Because sometimes it gives the other party the chance to speak to you and put things in better perspective for you. Then you realize, oh, okay, I got it wrong all along.
Tim says, can you totally overcome your unloved personality?
No, yes, but even if you don't overcome it, just being aware of it and parenting yourself puts you in a far better shape than ignoring it or not doing anything about it.
From Caroline, Uncle, how can you be kind and honest at the same time? You are either blunt or lying.
No, you're not. Sometimes, to be honest and kind, you keep quiet or change the subject. You are being kind because maybe you haven't found a way of putting it, but you can always find a nice way. So she comes to you and says, how do I look in this dress? Now, she's looking terrible in the dress. She said, you know something, I love it when you dress and I can see the cleavage. And I think that dress there does it far better. So why don't you change it? Change it now.
Creative answer.
You've answered. You've been honest. You've been kind.
Harrison says, Uncle, my girlfriend left some months ago and came back just last week saying she is pregnant. But she loves me and the child is not mine. Uncle, please, what should I do now?
So the girl left. And then has presumably had pregnant with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But has realized that the person she's pregnant with comes nowhere near the man she's left. So she's come back to him.
We don't know whether she knew she was pregnant before she left or she got pregnant while she was away and came back. But she's back and says she's pregnant for somebody and she loves you.
Okay.
What should he do?
All right. What do you want to do? I would like to know. Because I would like to show you know what you would like to do in this circumstance.
Uncle, how do I love myself?
Accept yourself. Know yourself. Affirm yourself. And challenge yourself. Don't put yourself down. Do these things. You would be loving yourself.
Uncle,
and don't compare yourself with anybody. You are you.
Uncle, how would I cope? How would I cope with a man who has a problem with his family and mine over something that happened 7 years ago? How would I cope? Sorry. Yes. It went off.
What's happening? Let's go on to another question.
Sorry,
and once you try to get
it
it
went
out.
off.
Uncle, how do you deal with a child who always wants to be loved?
Do you have that question?
All children always want to be loved, except that they express it differently. So, again, you are the parent. Remember their need, but be the parent. Be the adult, and do the best you can. Okay.
Ernestina says, how would I cope with a man who is not on good terms with his family and mine because of something that happened 7 years ago?
How does that affect you? Ernestina, I'd like to understand, how does that, he's not getting on well with his family and with yours, how is it affecting you? Because that may be a useful point to decide what to do.
Augustina Ewuku says, Uncle, I'm greeting you. I just missed this family from Ephraim.
Tina! It's always wonderful to hear you.
Oh, Uncle, it's actually Ephraim using his wife's handle.
Ephraim, refund the greeting, the funds I gave you. Refund it. It's not yours.
Penny says,
But wait, Ephraim, why are you that you are using your wife's?
They are together. That is the question.
They are together.
Yeah, together where?
Where?
Is it your consent?
That's the question he asked.
Ephraim, you told us you are not available on Friday, so.
He's still not available to us.
And it's 1:25. Ephraim. Anyway, my regards to Tina.
Penny says, if your boyfriend lies to you that this girl is his sister and you found out it was a lie, can you trust him again?
It will be difficult. It will be difficult to trust him. But you have a very serious decision to make, and I hope you find the courage to make that decision.
So Harrison came back. He says, she was not pregnant when she left my side.
Jeez.
No, he made it clear that it is not, and the girl herself said it, that it is not his. But what I said is that he should indicate what he wants to do. But as for that clarity, is in the question you read.
From Akosia, I recently ended a 3-year relationship with someone I now realize was unloved. He made me feel like I was the one at fault. I have now lost my self-esteem and confidence. How do I not make my new partner feel unloved? My new partner is an amazing person who has been very supportive and understanding as well as patient, and I want to treat him even better than I could ever imagine.
Well, recognizing the situation itself puts you way ahead. Ajua, right? Is that what's the name?
Akosia.
Akosia. It puts you way ahead, but parent yourself. Parent the inner girl who has been hurt. And I hope you recover from your ex before embracing this wonderful person. If you didn't, take the time to get over that person completely and love this person who you say such wonderful things about.
Sel says, I am unable to open up to people. How do I do that, please?
Little by little, don't open up too much and look for somebody you think you can trust, somebody you know loves you. And first begin with the safe stuff and see what their reaction is before the whole thing comes. Too much of it and they may get scared and run away.
Uncle Abodas, okay, this is not complete. I feel that my girlfriend is unloved. I try to show her love, but she feels I'm not being real. What do I do?
Stay consistent, that is all. Just do what you have to do, what you know you have to do, and be consistent with that.
Matilda says, Uncle, I think you should organize a relationship and marriage seminar anywhere in Accra for us to attend.
I would love to. I said that I'm not too sure you will come, that the community will come, but we would love to. We would really love to. So if it's something you would like, indicate it, let us know, so we can put something like that together.
Uncle Abo, there's this lady I was to propose love to in UG days, but because I was dating, I didn't. I'm in love with her now, and I've proposed, but she tells me she's considering it.
Are you still dating?
What do I do?
Wait. You just have to wait. She says she's considering, so just wait.
Harrison is back. He says, please, Uncle, I loved her, but difficult to sack her.
Okay. Take your time. Just that, hey, don't touch her yet. In other words, don't add yours on top of what is already there. That is how you call it. Is that how you call it? Ken and how come the two of you know it? And how come you could say it in unison? Hey, at our next review, the two of you will have to explain. And
Coca, write it down. Why?
and
Write
if you
it
don't,
down.
if the two of you don't turn up for the review, it will become very significant. So, my brother, difficult situation, but be self-controlled, and then let's wait and see what happens. She's carrying somebody's child. Let her go back to that person, or at least go deliver. After that, you would have the clarity you need to decide the way forward. But don't take any decision now. You know, traditionally, when a woman is pregnant, you can't even marry her. There's a good reason for that. So, wait for her to deliver. Meanwhile, don't let her sleep in your house. Yeah, let's go.
Uncle, we develop survival instincts to fight our surroundings. So is it not normal to find someone who has a lot of one trait to survive? Do we still need help?
You need help because, you see, it's a defensive mechanism, and it's always wonderful when you don't have to put up those defensive mechanisms. You are wearing a mask, and I have discovered that it is such a relief to take off your mask. It's such a wonderful life when you don't have to wear a mask anymore.
Penny says, my boyfriend thinks I love my son more than him. He wants me to love him more than my 6-year-old boy.
Your man is competing with a 6-year-old boy.
He lose finish.
Come again?
He lose finish.
I hope your man is listening. He should stop competing and join you in loving that boy, and then the two of you will come together.
But Uncle,
Yes.
speaking from my personal experience,
Yes.
you can feel that way, pal.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But when the children come, we are accessories now.
But I think our women also don't even understand why we should feel that way. I'm not saying it's right or we should perpetuate it, but it's like,
No,
if you
in
bring it
their
up,
mind,
then
in
it's
their mind, the baby is so helpless and needs them. You are okay.
Yeah.
You know, so that is why your best way of getting her is to take over the child. And then she cannot help but pay attention to you as well. But when you lean back, then that is the problem. I know fathers who have been very angry whenever they meet their children sucking the breast of their mother. You know? Especially when they grow a little. Daddy, take your time. You've had your time. Yeah, but I understand. We should just understand that what goes through the mind of the lady. This child depends exclusively on me. You have your ENCORE, you have your Roverman, you have all kinds of things going for you. So, take care of yourself. All right, are we done?
Uncle, is closure needed, as in talking to our parents about how we feel or how they treat us?
Monitor the situation. If it is possible to speak to them, it will help you a lot. Because quite often, what they say back to you may heal you. When they try to explain really why they did what they did, how they parented you the way they did. All right. I think we've run out of time.
We have a comment, please.
Yes.
Please. Ephraim says that he's going to be at the review meeting on Wednesday, and he will remind you.
Ephraim, you've answered the wrong question. The question was, where are you now? What are you using your Well, we'd like to thank you very much for staying with us. I don't take the fact that you make an investment of time and units to be with and data to be with us for granted. I hope the time with us has been worth spent. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank members of my team, Mr. Rekun, who is now become our supervising technician, for always coming around with us. When he's here, my boys behave very well. So thank you to everyone, and we'll see you, God willing, next week. Stay blessed. Hello. They call me Uncle White. I am the CEO of Roman Production. passions, but I'm also very much committed